Hi guys, Oshley here. Welcome back to my channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about this book, The Sin Eater's Daughter by Melinda Salisbury. I almost forgot the title. I was like, what am I talking about? Yeah, The Sin Eater's Daughter by Melinda Salisbury. I was sent this book by my very good friend Rachel, and I will actually be talking more about Rachel and her sending me this book at the end of the video. Briefly, I just want to talk about my thoughts on this. I was sent this I received this, I think, towards the end of February on the 23rd or so, I believe, and it was actually released on the 24th. I got this by Royal Mail. If you haven't seen the haul video, if it's posted, I will annotate it right on the book, right here. I ended up devouring this. It took me 2 days to read this. It didn't take me that long. And consequently, I spent a lot of time reading this by firelight because we had a huge winter storm and my family and I didn't have power for about 48 hours. And so I just sat by the fireplace and read this book. I have very mixed feelings about this read. I spent, I would say, the first 50 to 60% of this novel very irritated and frustrated by it. I was frustrated by the plot. I wasn't irritated enough to stop reading, but it wasn't my favorite thing ever. I would say the last 30 or so pages really turned this read around. The ending was really what made this worthwhile to me. First of all, I just like to say this whole Sin Eater thing is not original. And I hope that people aren't reading this thinking that Melinda Salisbury came up with this, because she didn't. And I think that's part of my huge annoyance with this book. Nowhere did I find where she kind of talks about where she found the idea for this novel or the research that she did behind the whole Sin Eater mythology. That pissed me off because the Sin Eater is something that actually existed. Back in like 18th and 19th century Scotland, a person actually did this. They actually ate someone's sins in the form of food at a burial. And that was supposed to be then taking on the sins of the deceased and allowing the deceased to pass on to, to go into the light or whatever. So that annoyed me that that was not acknowledged in any way, and only because I don't want people to think that Melinda Salisbury came up with this, because she didn't. For me, I'm familiar with the myth because of a Christian film I watched a few years back called The Sin Eater. You can look it up. And it's hugely based on this myth, and it introduced me to this myth, and the movie is actually quite good for a low budget Christian film. So that was one of my biggest pet peeves with this. The second thing I found irritating about this novel is the main character. Yes, I wasn't a big fan of her. In fact, I don't even remember her name. Twyla, there we go. Twyla, wasn't too fond of her. I found her to be very passive and almost stupidly so, and stupidly naive. Twyla just wasn't too smart. She didn't really do well with connecting the dots. She wasn't very investigative or curious. There was no curiosity in this chick at all. It killed me. She just kind of took things at face value and just kind of swallowed things that she was told, and it's not even that those are necessarily like bad. No, okay, they're bad, but it's not like I wouldn't enjoy a character like that or root for a character like that. It's just the way that she was written. She wasn't written in a way that would make me empathize with her or have compassion for her in any way. She was just written in a way where I was just like, girl, what is wrong with you? You just gonna believe everything they tell you? Really? 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 So that was irritating because I was reading it and shaking my head at so many parts and just being like, what is wrong with this girl? What is wrong with her? But I will say the last 30 pages do make up for a lot and went a long way with, kind of absolving a lot of my irritations with this novel. The romance irritated me to no end. To no end. And this weird kind of love triangle that was going on really was annoying as well. And once again, the ending really helped with that. I really enjoyed the plot twist that happened at the end. It just made me just smile. I was like, thank you, Melinda. Thank you. Thank you. So, yeah, so I will be picking up book 2, despite my annoyance with, 60% of this novel. I'm intrigued. The ending has made me really want to pick up the next book, and this is the first book in a series. What I will say for this novel, that it is not what it seems, okay? It is not. It is a fantasy. It is young adult. That's it. A lot of people are picking this up because the premise, from what they've read on the back or on Goodreads, really reminds them of the Shatter Me series by Tara Maffei, and that sense of someone's touch being lethal. And all I'm going to say is that this is not like the Shatter Me series, okay? Not even close. Not even close. And I'm not just talking about the whole Sin Eater mythology making it different, which, despite me being kind of icked out by the possibility that Melinda Salisbury was trying to act like she came up with this, girl, no. But then again, I don't know, maybe she just didn't feel like writing about, the reality behind this and how this is not her own original idea. I don't know. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, okay? But despite that making the book different, it's not what it seems. Nothing is what it seems, and I did enjoy about the novel. And I also really enjoyed just learning more about the Sin Eater myth and how Melinda Salisbury used it in this novel and how she made it her own. That I appreciated, and that she can absolutely take credit for, because the way the foods were described and how certain foods stood for certain sins, and just the whole way that the whole Sin Eater thing was passed down from mother to firstborn daughter was fascinating and really interesting. And just how the Sin Eaters were kind of revered but reviled at the same time was really cool. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the way she wrote that and how she incorporated that into the story, and that was definitely 100% Melinda's ideas, of course. What I didn't like was how religious the book was, in a weird way. This book was strangely very religious, and I'm not talking about the Judeo-Christian religions, Judaism, Christianity, those, typical Islam. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like, the religion in this world, the religions in this world, and just religion versus science. That was interesting. I will say that. No matter how irritated I got by how much of it was in here, I still found it really fascinating, and I don't know, I enjoyed it a lot more in this novel than I did in, like, say, A Girl of Fire and Thorns by Rae Carson. That just really annoyed me. I was not a fan of that book. But I did enjoy kind of the questioning of one's religious beliefs and why you believe what you believe, and just not blindly believing something, and not just kind of not having any type of logic to your faith, and just that separation of faith and science, and how that's not really good. And how any religion that seeks to completely eradicate science or make science out to be evil is probably not okay. So yeah, that I enjoyed. So for those who are interested in reading this novel, I'd say go in with just low expectations. I think that the lower your expectations are, the more you'll enjoy this book. There's a lot of hype surrounding this, and I think that that will probably ruin it for a lot of people. I don't think it's a bad book. I don't think it's badly written. I think it's actually pretty decent for the beginning of a series. I think it has a lot of potential to really become something cool. And like I said, the ending really, really, really went a long way to saving this for me. So yeah, that's what I'll say about this one. Now back to my friend Rachel. My amazing friend Rachel, who sent me this novel, is one of the founders of Equitas Theatre Company in London, and they are doing some really amazing things with their theater company. It's small, and they just started quite recently, so they're not that old, just a couple years now. And I really do want to show some support for what she's doing for actors and for the art in London. She runs a theater company with a lot of other lovely people who don't believe in typecasting actors and who really want to put up quality work where they can hire across genders and age and not have to put people in a box, and really give a lot of actors opportunities that they may not otherwise have due to the huge amounts of typecasting in the industry. They are raising money right now so that they will be able to pay their actors for this, and so that they can continue to not typecast actors and they can continue to put up really quality, solid work. So I will leave a link to the video below where she's talking about what her theater company is all about and what they believe in and what they're really trying to do. I will also leave a link below where you can go and donate if you want to, if you want to be a part of paying actors a decent wage to do this so they don't have to feel forced to work for free, and Equitas can continue to put up great work casting actors across all genders and all ages and all, just opening up the spectrum for actors to have really great roles. So yeah, that's basically it. And Rachel, thank you once again for sending me this. If you want to support Equitas, once again, click below or on the annotation here to go watch the video, and make sure you go to that link and you donate to the amazing things they are doing. All right. And that is it for this video. I will catch you in my next one. Bye, guys.